In the town of Dharmasthala, an 800-year-old temple devoted to the Hindu god Shiva sits at the center of a spiritual anomaly. Daily rituals are performed by Vaishnava priests, yet the entire complex is administered by a Jain family. That family, the Hegedis, has managed this site for generations. Over the centuries, they fostered a culture of dharma, of righteousness and justice, that united the different faiths in the region under one shared spiritual umbrella. In 1967, that environment of cooperation birthed a massive ambition. The administrators commissioned a 39-foot-tall statue of the Jain figure Bahubali. It would be a monolith, sculpted entirely from a single 180-ton stone block. The project relied on the town's culture of blended devotion, turning a religious culture into a shared goal for the entire region. Carving the solid rock into its final form took 6 grueling years of sweat and heavy chisel work. But the quarry was located in Karnataka, 64 kilometers away from its intended home. In 1970s India, there were no hydraulic rig cranes or heavy-lift helicopters capable of lifting a 180-ton payload across rural terrain. The community had successfully revived the ancient tradition of monolithic carving, but they were now faced with the limits of their own infrastructure. They had a mountain of carved stone and no obvious way to move it. To bridge the 64-kilometer gap, an engineering firm named Mangatram Brothers built a custom 20-ton trolley equipped with 64 wheels and a 250-horsepower engine. It took 6 days just to load the statue onto the trolley, and when they finally fired up the engine, the vehicle refused to move. The slight uphill grade of the quarry road, combined with the immense weight, locked the wheels in place. They tried jamming wooden planks under the tires and even brought in elephants to pull the trolley forward. Nothing worked against the sheer laws of physics. A solution finally arrived in a simple, anonymous postcard. The sender suggested coating the tires with inflammable ash. This diagram shows how rubber wheels behave under immense pressure. The jagged edges of the tire and road lock together. The ash acts as a dry lubricant, coating the jagged surfaces, smoothing the friction points, and allowing the heavy rubber to slide. Breaking that initial inertia didn't require a larger engine. It required a layer of dry lubricant, recommended by a local observer. Once the wheels were rolling, the 64-kilometer haul took 23 days. It became a slow-moving community carnival, with surrounding villages pouring out to celebrate the statue as it crept past. But the route included 5 separate rivers, and the existing rural bridges were incapable of supporting 200 tons of concentrated steel and stone. To cross safely, the temple administrators secured help from the railway department and the military. Troops constructed temporary, reusable steel bridges, the kind typically used for heavy ammunition transport, specifically to support the trolley. On March 20, 1973, the statue finally arrived at Dharmasthala. In a display of interfaith respect, the Jain idol was paraded around the Hindu Lord Manjunatha temple before making its way to the final site. The transit transformed a grueling logistical problem into a visible demonstration of regional cooperation, with the temple, along with the military, and the local public synchronizing their efforts to move the monolith. Even at the hilltop, the statue sat horizontally for 2 full years. Planners knew that a single snapped cable or a slip on the stone would irreparably damage the idol. To prepare, they laid railway tracks from the base of the statue directly to the erection spot, allowing them to slide the 180-ton sculpture into its final position. Next, they wrapped the sculpture in protective hay, framed it in iron scaffolding, and attached pulleys and heavy iron ropes at the statue's shoulders. On Christmas Day in 1975, the lift began. Without hydraulic systems, 20 laborers manually cranked 2 large winches, turning the gears in perfect synchronized coordination. This schematic details the fail-safe mechanism. As the statue was hoisted, workers shoved metal pillars underneath its back. If a rope snapped, it would only fall a few inches. They ratcheted the Colossus to a 50-degree angle on day 1 and vertically on day 2. Standing the monolith upright was a victory for manual human coordination, relying on a gravity-proof safety system rather than modern heavy machinery. The Baahubali Colossus was permanently secured to its 14-foot platform atop Rathnagiri Hill, where it remains as a landmark of the district. While it is a modern addition to the state's famous statues, the methods used to carve, transport, and elevate it belong to an era of manual problem-solving. Dharmastala's Bahubali represents the potential of human coordination and social unity, a monument built through communal effort and analog engineering.